Good afternoon, Yankees Nation. This is Ken, and you're here on The Ugly Truth. The live stream is a little bit later than normal. Had to do some grandpa stuff today, and that's why we're running later. Today's schedule is going to have us doing the Let's Talk Baseball stream right now. Hey, Steele, welcome. And that's going to run for about an hour or so. Then I will be back on at 7 p.m. this evening to give the live play-by-play for the uh, Guardians versus the Yankees there in the Bronx. Hey, Dev, how's it going? Welcome. Uh, so, if y'all have the opportunity, please hop into the stream. Uh, I've thrown an invitation out for Joe to uh, jump on and co-host with me, but if not, I'll do it by myself. Not like I haven't done it before. Want to extend my appreciation to all of y'all that are showing up here for the stream this afternoon. Uh, Pretty much, I'm going with an unscripted program today. Uh, we've got some news that's been breaking. Obviously, you guys have probably heard, and this has been beat to death, that Luke Weaver is going to be shelved. They haven't officially done it yet, but he's got a hamstring issue, and it's looking like the initial report last night was he's going to be shelved for 4 to 6 weeks. We haven't heard anything about the actual grade of the hamstring injury. At 4 to 6 weeks, probably a grade 2 / possible grade 3 hamstring pull. I'm hoping for something less. Uh, hey Joe, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Uh, I'm hoping for something less, but you know, in true Yankee fan tradition. Hey Jacob, welcome to the stream, brother. Appreciate you being here. Uh, True Yankee fan numbers, they are starting to spin on station a little bit. Uh, do I think that it's a death blow to the Yankees? Well, I don't. I think that we've got plenty of arms that can uh, help us ride the wave over. Uh, there's a lot of concern about Devin Williams possibly coming in to be the closer. I'm not sure about that. I think that he has proven that he has been very good in the eighth inning for us as a setup guy, and when he's had uh, ventures into the foray of being the closer for the Yankees, frankly, he hasn't done too well. He's got issues with control on his four seamer, and when he has problems with that, his changeup is up in the strike zone. Batters are waiting to ambush it, and they're hitting it hard. So, long and short, I think he's more comfortable throwing in the eighth. Question that you bring to the table is probably going to be who could we see going into the closer role in Weaver's absence? The first one that you would tend to think is possibly Mark Leiter Jr. He's already gotten a couple of saves for us on the season. Uh, he has a pretty decent strikeout rate and generally doesn't tend to give up the long ball. Uh, Johnny Loizaga, possibly, but he's just coming back from injury, and he seems to be doing fine with the first couple of batters, and then it sort of comes off the rails. He's giving up walks and hits. So, not my prototypical closer type. Uh, the one that I think that could step into the role and be very successful at it is uh, Fernando Cruz, who is going to be coincidentally back on the roster today. I don't believe that there has to be a move to bring him up since the Yankees put Cookie Carrasco on the waiver wires and definitely an availability. Plus, we have the injury to Luke Weaver, and when he actually shows up on the IL, we'll be adding another arm. Alan Winans maybe. I think Scott Efros is more likely to be a candidate to be brought up. And I know that we have a decision to make with regard to JT Brubaker by the 15th. If he's not on the major league roster, he has the option to opt out of his contract and become an unrestricted free agent. From what I've seen in his appearances down there at Somerset, he seems to be doing very well. He pitched the evening that Jazz made his first rehab start in Somerset. He went 4 clean frames, had a few strikeouts, didn't walk anybody, didn't give up a run. I think he might have given up 2 hits. So long and short, okay, thank you, tired. Oh, all right. Roger that. We also got news today. There's an article that popped on Sports Illustrated that Jazz Chisholm is going to be returning to our starting lineup for tonight's game. So where Jazz plays, that's a great question. I know in Somerset that he had taken third base as a spot where he was rehabbing. You know, when he left, he was our second baseman. So is it possible that Jazz returns to second and DJ moves over to third? It's a possibility. What the corresponding roster move for Jazz coming back, I'm not sure. There are several options. Okay, Jake. Jake says, I think Boone said that he was playing third but can't be sure. I mean, that would make sense with regard to Jazz taking reps at third while rehabbing. As you know, he was our third baseman last year when he came over. Never having played the position, he did a very good job. A little bit of learning curve there as far as positions, but very strong arm, solid glove man, former shortstop with the Diamondbacks, so he's used to playing on that half of the infield. And I think he was a plus defender. All right, Dev, you got the Boone hate on already, I can see. Boone plays the team that he has. Analytics does the adjustments and helps him. So maybe the analytics is a clown department. All right. I am dropping the thread or the link to come up. So anybody who feels like coming up, we can talk. Additions to the team. Yeah, Italian. Have you seen the lineup for today? I haven't looked. I thought it was probably a bit too early. Martian is day to day. Not in the lineup tonight per Boone. I mean, I can understand that. He suffered the hand contusion at sliding into second base in L.A. and contusion equates to basically a deep bruise. So, is it something that's going to require an IL stint? I don't think so. Is it something that he can work through in the next few days? Probably. Dominguez may not be in the starting lineup tonight, but he may be available as a pinch hitter. All right, let's see. Dev Finch, I hate Boone since he has been the Yankee manager. Well, you know, Dev, don't understand why you hate him. That's a talking point that a lot of channels subscribe to. But if you look at his sheer numbers, I have Jonathan jumping in. Boone has the 6th highest win percentage as a manager in baseball. not too shabby. The teams that he has managed until last year weren't near as talented as the teams that Girardi and Torrey had, and he was still able to accomplish that. He had 100 wins in his first 3 seasons, and honestly, he took us to the first World Series that we've been to in 15 years. So, not too bad a resume. How you
Well,
doing, Jonathan?
the Yankees are not gonna fire a manager after he took them to the World Series. As much as many fans or some fans don't want Boone, this is not George Steinbrenner's Yankees. I think George Steinbrenner is the only person to fire a manager after a World Series that I can think of.
Yep.
That
And
that's not going to happen in today's owners.
let's see. Jake says that I'm not a fan of Boone. Think he makes dumb moves that potentially cost games at times, but he does have a winning record. Well, Jake, he does make some boneheaded moves, but I don't believe that there's a manager out there that's uh, managing baseball that doesn't make mistakes at times. There's no such thing as a zero defect manager.
There was I forget what I put in Jason's chat earlier, but there was a trade that I proposed with the Rockies.
Okay,
Let me see if I can remember it. It was McMahon and that pitcher,
Jake Bird.
Bird and McMahon, and I believe if I remember correctly, I gave them Everson Pereira, and it was two pitchers and two hitters, Pereira and the it's hard to remember even what I come up at the moment, but I think
TJ Rumsfeld.
TJ Runfield. Uh, what I need to see. I need to go back to our prospects. It was
Brock
Rumfield,
Selvage.
Selvage was the
Yeah.
other one, and another pitcher, a low level pitcher that I don't remember. But it was two pitchers, two hitters for that guy, and maybe one other person in return, which I think was a good, decent move for both teams. And basically a 4-for-2 package.
All right, let's see. Celia. Hi, all. Honestly, I think that someone like Dave Roberts is a better manager. As much as I hate the Dodgers, Boone always seems to be outmanaged when they play the Dodgers.
Well,
Well,
one problem I have is sometimes Boone is too. He can at least come across as too player friendly and not act when a player and sometimes wait a little bit too long after a player is struggling. For example, when if a pitcher, I think just the other day, they gave up 2 runs, loaded the base, and waited until the bases were loaded before taking the pitcher out instead of waiting when the after two runners got on.
I'm assuming you're talking about Max Fried.
Yes.
Okay.
Max Fried. That's a perfect example. I know Max Fried is a number one guy, but sometimes you just need to realize when he's starting to struggle, and just after that, I think he should have been taken out after the second guy got on base.
Well, honestly, I would have probably pulled him earlier than Boone did.
Yes.
But you're talking your ace. This guy is a ground ball machine, so there was a potential for him to pull the double play off with a grounder. He's not giving up hard contact, but in that particular game, he just didn't seem to have it. He wasn't locating well.
Yes. And that is the one thing you have to realize on a manager. This game right now, my pitcher is not doing what he needs to do to get out of this bad situation. It might be time to replace him with a bullpen piece. And your ace pitcher will not give you ace quality starts every single time. There comes time, just like in that game, the ace is struggling, and you have to pull him earlier than you would like. It
Well,
might not be pretty, but if it can save you a game and an embarrassment, I mean, what did he give up? He gave up 7 earned runs by not pulling him out early.
essentially, yeah, cost us a game.
So, and he cost him the game. So sometimes you have to realize, yes, games games in May can affect your games in October. And if your number one guy is struggling with 90 pitches in less than 5 innings, he needs to be pulled out for a bullpen piece.
All right, here's one for you, Celia. Don't know if you paid attention to the Dodgers Mets game last night, but Roberts came out. He put their very expensive closer Tanner Scott into the game in the 10th inning, and Scott has been giving up a boatload of runs, hits, and last night in true fashion, he ended up giving up the tie, the lead, and then an extra run, and the Dodgers ended up coughing the game up last night, 4-3, I believe, is what it is. But that was certainly a managerial decision that didn't work out well, and was even being questioned by the Dodger announcers at the point that he made it.
4-3. The Mets scored 2 in the 10th, and the Dodgers came back with 1 in the 10th.
In the 10th, yeah.
Yeah, the Dodgers actually tied the game in the bottom of the 9th.
Right.
And then they scored 2 in the 10th to win it.
Yep, the Ghost Runner +1. It could have been +2, but Juan Soto rolled over the top of a ball that cost him. But like I said, it was a managerial decision, and it happens. There are no zero defect managers. I'm all right with Boone. I'm not a big Boone celebrant or a fan. I don't think I'm as critical as other people. But the question that I always ask, if you want to fire Boone, who do you put in this spot? You going to put Brad Osmus in there? Just some thoughts. With Jazz coming back this evening, what do you think the corresponding roster move is going to be? Are we thinking that we need to DFA Pablo Reyes? Are we going to send Yorbit Vivas down?
Reyes is gone.
You think they're DFAing him today?
Yeah, definitely. I think Reyes is gone.
Okay. And with Luke Weaver going on the IL and Cookie Carrasco being waived already, Fernando Cruz is coming up. That's one roster slot in the pen. Who's the other one?
Who's the other one besides Reyes?
No, the other one that's coming up for the bullpen, because Cookie Carrasco was DFA. That opened one slot. Luke Weaver is injured. That opens up a second slot. Fernando Cruz is coming back. That takes one of the slots. There's one open slot still for the bullpen. Who do you think it's going to be?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Winans or De Los Santos.
Santos can't come up for 10 days. He just got
Okay,
sent down.
the other guy, the only guy they have on the roster left is Winans. That's the only pitcher they have left, unless they want to call up Clayton Beeter, which I don't think so.
I think
Winans,
Peter.
I think Winans. If they're calling up another pitcher, I think Winans is the only option they have.
Well, Scott Efros completed his rehab assignment, and he was reassigned to Scranton, so he's also available.
Scott, if Frost is available to come back to the majors, then yes, he probably will be the first choice as well. I didn't think about him.
All right, let's see Celia's comment. I ended up falling asleep at the end of the game, laughing out loud. You're right. I guess there is no manager that's flawless. I actually think that Vivas is going to go, but you could be right, Jonathan. And Cold Italian Pizza says, give Efros a shot. He's been through a lot.
Look, the Yankees are paying Efros anyway. They have him for, I think, 2 more years after this. They need to see what they have. And I think he's going to get a call up sometime this month. I don't see the Yankees waiting too long before calling up Efros.
What do you think about the J.D. Brubaker situation, Jonathan?
Can you explain it to me? He's on the 60-day IL.
He is eligible to come back, I think, next week from the 60-day. He has a player option. It's either June the 15th or 16th. If he's not on the big league roster, he can opt out of his deal and become an unrestricted free agent. And we lost Dom Smith, who declared himself an unrestricted free agent. And there was another infielder that's a utility player that opted free agency yesterday, too.
Another infielder. I'm blanking for this for a second. Jason just asked me if he can have your number. So you want me to share your with your
Yes,
number?
of course.
Okay. Hold on, let me continue with what you're saying. I'm doing 2 things at once, please.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. I was just asking, do we put JT on our major league roster, or do we let him walk in free agency?
JT Brubaker?
Yeah.
I think the Brubaker could get an opportunity. However, well, the Yankees are down with arms, so I would give Brubaker the opportunity. Also, I like the idea of giving Efros an opportunity. So it will be a tough call, but it also depends. Do you know how Luke Weaver is probably going on the 15-day IL, not the 60? You think?
Right.
So that's not an open spot. So the Yankees basically have a roster crunch with injuries.
And let's see. City has a comment. What do we really think is going to happen at the trade deadline? My fear is that Cashman is going to say Stanton is coming back, Jazz is coming back, so they don't need another bat. Of all the things, like Nightingale put out the other day, that the Yankees were in search of a frontline starter, bullpen help, and an actual right-handed hitting third baseman. Me personally, I think that the starting pitcher is fantasy land. Any frontline starter that's going to be available at the deadline is going to be very expensive. And usually, when you come talk to the Yankees about a frontline starter, you're talking Spencer Jones or Dominguez or uh, Lombard Jr.
I
And
don't. I don't. First of all, Lombard Jr. will not be traded under any circumstances. I doubt. I highly doubt that. And I don't. I don't really see them trading Jones or Dominguez for anything but a young player, specifically a pitcher with control.
well, Jonathan, just to quote you, the only way that the Yankees lower payroll, and that is one of Hal's major objectives, is to play rookie/prospect players to replace those expensive contracts.
Yes.
A lot of the fan base is foaming at the mouth about going after Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker is going to be a $500 to $600 million contract, running at an AAV of 40 mil a season. I can't see us putting that big a capital investment with
I
with a player like Jones sitting on the shelf.
I think they just. I think they're going to Spencer Jones if he can prove if he can play to the level that everyone is expecting. He's basically a similar player to uh, Tucker. Why would you want to spend $500 million on Tucker when you have essentially the same player in Jones
Ed Younger.
and younger?
So I'm
So
not.
I
I'm,
I'm
I'm
not
not
sure if Tucker is the answer. Plus, he will want as much money as possible. So look, the other thing to remember in Stanton, we're going to have an extra $10 million to spend because the Marlins are paying part of his contract.
yeah.
So what do you do with that extra $10 million?
So, honestly, I don't see us addressing a starting pitcher that's top line. Uh,
No.
in Jason's stream, I brought up a number 3 starter that could be available through the Reds. That's not going to be near as expensive. He's on a much cheaper contract, and he's got a couple of ARB years left. Andrew Abbott. He tends to profile a lot like Yarbrough with regard to his stuff. He's just a younger, better version. Yarbrough's fastball is running 88, 89, and Abbott's fastball is running 91, 92. They throw pretty much the exact same complement, and I don't think that he would be all that expensive to obtain with a few years of control. So if we address starting pitching, it's probably going to be a number 3 from a team that's falling out of the run.
Yeah,
Uh,
We're,
if
we're gonna. I think Cashman is gonna sign these. He's gonna sign these players, trade for these players that nobody is currently thinking about. That just like remember when they went after Luke Weaver. Nobody thought of Luke Weaver at the time we made the trade for him, and he turned out to be a good player. Fans have to remember we're not the ones who have the scouts and doing all the background. We're just looking at the player on face value and what he's done on television and then the numbers. So we're not looking at how he pitches. Uh, you know, we're not looking at the small details that all scouts use when evaluating players, just like for the draft.
Yep. Basically, to get to the point, Celia, I don't think that the addition of Jazz and Stanton is going to alleviate uh, the Yankees looking for a right-handed bat. Whether that player is a second baseman or a third baseman uh, is the question. Jazz is certainly capable of playing third base, but he's a much better second baseman. DJ has been holding the fort down, but let's face it, he's 37 years old. He has a long injury history, and I don't think that his body could take the rest of the season playing as an everyday starter. Uh,
No.
Third base options. If you say Nolan Arenado, I'm going to lose my freaking mind.
No, I think third base, I would prefer McMahon.
If he's available, I'm not sure that.
If he's available, I think he would be my number one option for third base.
I think that the team is going to look at players. I see Sunil hopping in, and Landon Holder. Not familiar with you, but I will add you to the stage.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, I suspect that the Yankees.
What?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Just fine. I suspect that the Yankees are going to look at a third baseman, possibly somebody like Miguel Andahar, possibly Yon Moncada, or the big bat Eugenio Suarez coming out of the Diamondbacks.
I find it very difficult to think that the Yankees will try to go after Andahar again.
He's an outfielder now, predominantly with the Athletics.
He's
More than
been,
third base.
when we played against him, he played third in 2 out of the 3 games.
Okay.
So he has been playing third also. He's not a great defensive third baseman,
Nope.
but he certainly has a bat. He's hitting over 300. He's got a modicum of power.
I know we could have kept him. We let him go because he was hurt.
Well, I'll tell you another one that I've seen pop up in the papers too is the possibility of bringing John Birdie back, and we had him last season to play second base.
I didn't want to let him go.
But
So there are players out there that will help improve the team on the margins.
But do the Cubs have enough depth at third, though, to let him go?
Say again?
Do the Cubs have enough depth at third to let him go?
Well, he's actually been playing second base for the Cubs, and they have Nico Horner. Plus, they've got a young stud that they're itching to bring up from their. I think he's their number 4 ranked prospect, number 74 major league prospect.
Gotcha.
So there's a distinct possibility of bringing him up.
All right.
Any thoughts, Landon?
Not really. Not really much thoughts. I mean, the Guardians are going to be, they ain't going to be easy to play against, but I think as long as we keep on swinging, pitching good, we'll be fine.
I think the key Hello? I'm hearing myself.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm hearing double. Let me. Test. Yeah, I'm hearing myself. I might have to log out.
Hey, Jonathan, do you have YouTube also unmuted? Check that, because that's all.
I'm hearing you double as well.
All right.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I think it might have been feedback from Landon's system.
Okay. Now I hear everyone fine.
Okay.
Okay. Getting back on topic.
Yeah.
Birdie. Look. I wouldn't be against bringing back Birdie if he's available. I think he did a good job for when he was on the Yankees. What would a trade for Birdie look like, though? Would it be a low-level piece? And Birdie can play the infield. He can steal bases. I mean, he was a valuable piece. I honestly don't I don't know why we let him go.
He had a small playing sample size with us. He took his first actual career injury as a Yankee on that bunt coming out of the box.
Yeah, he lost his footing on that, and he slipped and whatnot.
So personally, I would have no issue about bringing Birdie back. He's on a cheap deal with the Cubs, and I think that we could get him for prospect pitching for them.
Prospect pitching. 'Cause,
Probably one of our low level 23 to 28 in that area.
so just one guy.
Well, you're talking a utility second baseman, positional versatility. They have somebody waiting in the wings. And let's see, Landon
You
is
think
back.
you think you can get him for a guy like Beater?
Yeah.
Maybe because I don't know what Beater's role on this team will be. Because he seems to. I don't think he's hurt anymore, but he's still on the roster. So it might be a good idea to trade a guy like Beater for because you have two things. It frees up a roster spot because Beater's already on the 40 man, and you get a player of need.
Agree. Welcome back, Landon.
It was my my thing. Is what y'all are hearing.
Okay. We sort of figured that out.
You want to add what you're thinking?
Yeah. Like I said, I think it would probably be easier for the Yankees to add a second baseman to the fold because Jazz's versatility and well versed at third. DJ can spot play there too. I mean, DJ has a lot of positions that he can roll to. So adding a second or a third baseman that's a right-handed bat is good. I will tell you though, since DJ came off the IL, he has been hitting the ball with a lot more intensity. And the 4-hit game that he had against the Dodgers, he had 3 hits that were hit to right field. They shifted on him to try to stop that, and he pulled it for a double down the third base line. So it looks like DJ's bat speed is there, and DJ is not dealing with any lower body issues. So I'm liking what I'm seeing there.
Look, if DJ can give you the well, we know he can give you solid defense, but if DJ can hit 270 plus throughout this whole season, I would be happy with that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Anyone expecting the timing on Jazz Chisholm to come back?
Today.
This week.
I think he's coming back. I think he's coming back today.
Well, Fernando Cruz is coming back today. That I do know because Luke Weaver's on the IL, and Luke Weaver's got a 4 to 6 week stint on the IL potentially. I mean, with his rehab and everything from his hamstring tweak in LA.
Yeah. Chisholm is in tonight. Today is going to be in today's lineup.
Well,
Okay, that's a good thing.
You saw that from like Passon or somebody on Twitter?
Yeah.
That was from Boone.
Oh, Boone. Okay, all right.
Boone said it today on Talking Yanks with John Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was reported on via an article on Sports Illustrated.
Yeah,
and Fernando Cruz is supposed to be back as well today, right, Ken?
Correct.
Yeah,
I expect the lineup to be out by around within the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
And what's the state of affairs for the Martian, Jason Dominguez, with this thumb contusion?
Not in today's lineup. Hand
Not
contusion.
day to
Doesn't
day.
doesn't look like he's going to make the IL. It's, I
Okay, so
anticipate
day to day.
Day to
I
day.
anticipate by the time we hit the Red Sox series, he'll be back in the lineup.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's encouraging. So then this whole series with the Guardians, I could see Bellinger in left, Grisham in center, Judge in right, basically as our outfield, pretty much rolling throughout the series. Or do you see
Yeah.
anything differently?
Yeah, I mean it's a solid outfield. Don't have
Yeah.
any issues with it. Defensively, it's probably the best set that we have.
Yeah.
Grisham is up and down, and but his OPS numbers and his power numbers are still there. So
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like 2025 Chris Chambliss with the afro and the stash.
I can tell you one thing: when Carl Stanton gets back in the lineup, we're gonna be really unstoppable.
Well,
Well-
he needs to show that he can hit. I don't expect him to come back and immediately be playoff Stanton.
No,
No.
that's
right.
unrealistic.
for those of you out there, just a quick info note for programming purposes.
Yeah.
Joe at NY Yankee Mania was going to have his pregame at 6, but the time has been shifted. It is going to be at 4 this afternoon. So remember, hop on NY Yankee Mania for the pregame at
If
4
I'm
o'clock.
available, I'll be on.
All right, well, Roger that.
Yeah.
And I'll be joining Joe in the pregame. I'll be calling the game play-by-play at 7 p.m. Eastern, right
Hey,
here on.
You just recently passed 100, right? 100 subscribers.
Yeah, I think I'm at 106, 107, something like that.
Okay, so that must have been like this week sometime you got past 100.
Yeah, you're 106.
Yeah.
All right. Milestones, man. Milestones.
Yep, we're getting there. We
Yeah.
are getting there.
Yeah, do it, man. Do it.
So
Keep
appreciate everyone's support. And speaking of that, if you haven't, please hit the like button. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe to Yankees The Ugly Truth. And if you have time, hop in the game tonight.
Mhm.
If it's boring, I'll open a panel up and bring some folks up to give some commentary during the
Oh,
game.
no. Please don't breathe that into existence. We don't want another 18-2 PTSD shellacking like we did on Saturday. Don't breathe that into existence.
All right. Roger, Brandon, Landon got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, there's no additional news.
Yeah.
And some,
I agree with cold Italian pizza.
Yeah.
I think that Rodon is gonna handle business.
Oh, yeah.
The only two players that aggravate me / worry me are freaking Jose Ramirez and Stephen Kwan. They do have that outfielder that's got some power.
I mentioned this earlier in I think it was I went on with you? No, not with you. Whose stream? Joe, maybe it was with Joe. I think this series will depend on the Yankees neutralizing Kwan and Ramirez. If they can keep those guys off the bases, I think they will win at least 2 games, if not 3.
The pitching matchups certainly favor the Yankees.
Who's the Guardian starter?
Tonight it is Beebe,
Bieber?
Okay.
and we faced him earlier in the season in April. He beat us 3-2. He did a pretty nice job. He's 4-5 on the season. Teams are hitting, I think, like 245, 250 in that area off of him.
386.
ERA. That might have been the game that Schmidt came off the IL and made his 2025 debut, if I remember.
Could be.
Yeah, yeah.
But long and short, he is beatable.
Mhm.
The kid Luis Ortiz will be pitching tomorrow. He brings some heat, but there's not a lot of movement, and he has a hard hit rate against him and a very low whiff rate. And the Yankees prototypically hit fastball pitchers very well. So he's facing up against Clark Schmidt tomorrow night, and then on Thursday, it's going to be Max Fried locking it up against a pitcher by the name of Slade Chacon, who
Can I
was
can I ask you one question?
sure.
Where do you find the upcoming pitching matchups? Because I'm looking at Yankees.com and they used to have it, but they no longer have it anymore.
You can go straight to the MLB site.
MLB site?
Yep. Look under the games for today. Click the tab. It'll show the pitchers. You can slide it over to the next day. It'll show the pitchers for the game, and all three games have our pitchers listed, both of us. And
So that's
Slade Chacon came from the Diamondbacks as part of the Bo Naylor trade. He was in the AA level with Arizona, but he was one of the future linchpins that they were looking at building their possible rotation on when they started moving on from their older pitchers. But he was part of the trade, and apparently the Guardians have seen something in him. He's pitched 15 innings at the major league level. Teams are hitting like 286 against him. He's essentially right now a two-pitch pitcher that has plus stuff, and both of his plus pitches are fastball related. So another good matchup for the Yankees with regard to hitting.
Tanner Bibby. He was one of the pitchers we faced in the playoffs. I want to say that was the pitcher Stanton hit the 2-run game-tying home run off of. Might have been game, I want to say 4. And during the regular season, I just looked on StatMuse. He's 1-0 with the 3.18 in regular season play against us, and that's off of 2 starts. First one was in 2023, back in May of 23, 5 strikeouts, over 5 in the third innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. And then last year, or actually not last year, this year, 5 strikeouts, over 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a home run, 3 walks. So, I mean, it's kind of middle of the road stat sample, but again, a very small 2-game regular season sample size, and
Just
a playoff game.
Just remember that Tanner is facing a different Yankees team than he did earlier this season.
Oh, of course.
We hadn't established our identity, and he's coming to our house where we play very well. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And also, how about this? How many home runs do you think Judge will hit in this series, next series?
If he's playing all 3 games, 4 or 5.
He will play. I'm sure he will not sit one game.
Yeah.
Even if it's on the DH.
Expect him to DH 1 game, but he's going to be playing right in at least 2 of them.
hey, John, the Beagle Dad, welcome to the stream, brother. Appreciate you being here.
So
I'm thinking three at a minimum. In this series.
Yeah. But Boone's going to do his usual, keep Judge off his feet for one of the games.
Well, that's going to be very dependent on Jason Dominguez, because right now our 4th outfielder is Pablo Reyes.
Oh, no.
Well, you may be saying no, but that's the fact.
I know,
Yeah.
but that's not a name I want to see ever. After he gave us he gave up home runs on eephus pitches in the Dodger series. I mean that the guy who hit the home run that might have been his first career home run.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
And the other outfielder that has or other player that has outfield experience is Jazz Chisholm, and him
center field. Yeah,
coming off of basically an oblique strain. I don't
yeah.
see
You don't
them
want to do
putting
that.
him. Don't see them putting him in the outfield. So,
No.
like I said, the dependence on whether uh, Judge plays all 3 games in the field is Dominguez. He's the linchpin.
So with Jazz back, he's playing third. DJ likely at second, if not Peraza. Volpe is of course in at short. You got either Goldie or Rice at first. I'm just trying to see who that leaves on the bench as a possible augment for the outfield apart from the infamous Pablo Reyes.
Well,
Hmm.
you've got Escara, no outfield experience. You
Oh,
have
no, don't want to do
you
that.
have Peraza, no outfield experience.
Ditto.
You have
See, this is where the absence of Oswaldo Cabrera really hurts because he's a utility both infield and outfield.
that's true, and that's an injury that we're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Hence, you look at a player like John Birdie who has infield and outfield experience.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having John Birdie back.
And of course, we're looking at Ben Rice, who's never played the outfield. He's catcher or first base.
Ben Rice is not going into the outfield, regardless.
No,
If-
I'm with you. I'm not even.
Ben Rice is staying at first base, maybe an emergency third baseman, but he's or catcher, but he's primarily a first baseman right now.
Escara has played third base for us in the regular season.
Once or twice.
Ben Rice was taking fielding
Reps.
practice at third base in Colorado and in Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
So they may look at him as like an emergency slot at third base.
The whole reason why we're even having this discussion is because we lost Cabrera.
Yep.
If we didn't lose Cabrera, I think third base would be as solid as when A-Rod was there.
I still can't unsee the way he ran to home plate in that one. That still is a very stinging, lingering thought in my head. Just seeing that imagery. The closest thing I can equate that to analogically goes back to the COVID year during the NFL season. You saw a game between the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington where Dak basically had his right foot basically go the wrong way. And you can see him on the ground doing something like this, trying to put it back in place.
I remember seeing a sports injury where a guy was in, maybe it was a football injury, where a guy was coming down in the air. His arm was coming down to block his fall, and his elbow went this way.
Hey, yikes.
I remember seeing that in I believe it was a football injury.
Probably.
Yeah, it sounds like a football injury. That's gross.
But we're coming up on the hour mark, guys.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shut this one down here in a minute. Get your final thoughts before we do the sign off.
So, do the Guardians have a lefty in this on the mound during this 3-game series?
No.
Yeah. So we're still probably going to see Goldschmidt, but he's not going to be in his feasting mode like he does off left-handed pitching. But nonetheless, we still see a good Goldschmidt. That's something we can look forward to. If you want to keep Rice on defense at first, you can keep Goldie at DH or alternate between the two.
Well, this is going to be the series to see if DJ is back to the machine mode.
Yeah.
I think this series, the Yankees have to be careful with both Kwan and Ramirez. If they can keep both those guys off the bases, then this will be a successful series. Those are the two guys that concern me the most out of everybody in the Cleveland lineup.
And don't forget John Kenzie Noel and some of those big sluggers too.
I understand. I'm talking about those two guys specifically. If
Yeah.
they can keep Kwan and Ramirez off the bases,
Mhm.
I think this series could be a good series for the Yankees.
Yeah.
I personally think Jonathan is right with regard to those two. They're the ones that I fear out of their lineup. Although, is it Manzardo
Yeah.
that has some pop and he's hitting near the top of the lineup, and I
Kyle
think he's tied for the
Manzardo.
lead. I think that he's tied for the lead in home runs on their team,
Yeah.
and he tends to hit it to right center in that area. So they have to be careful on how they pitch to him.
Yeah.
With regard to pitching matchups, the favors are all in the Yankees' realm. Their pitching, I think, is going to boost our offensive stat numbers for the season. Tonight, I'm anticipating a minimum of 6 runs by the boys. I think that we hold the Guardians to 4 or less.
Yeah. I'm going to say 7-2, 7-3. That's my prediction for score.
7-7-3.
7-2, 7-3. Yankees win tonight. Somewhere around there.
Yeah. As I said, it will be up to those two players out of all.
Yeah.
But if they can hold those two players to minimal effect, I think they can win 6-3.
So I've got one positive and one negative. The positive, I think, is Tanner Bibby has not faced a lineup with DJ, and as much as we've been uncertain about his, future prospects of what it holds, I think it takes one game to start a trend. That was the Sunday ESPN Sunday Night Baseball in Dodger Stadium for DJ to get the 3 to 4 hits. He needs to build on that, so I think that's going to be positive. That basically differentiates Tanner Bibby's pass versus the Yankees versus what lies ahead. The negative, buckle up for the closer's role. That's all I will say. Yeah, you got to hope that Devin Williams can pick it up and gain his confidence right from now for the next 1.5 to 2 months, because that is what it's going to take for Luke Weaver to get back. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. You can expect maybe a week to week and a half of a ramp up with a outing or two down in AAA for rehab, and then you're looking at week 7 or week 8 by the time he's back up on this timeline. So
Well, the Yankees,
he's getting it together, and add Cruz to the regimen too.
Yankees got Williams with the idea of with the closing in mind. So
Yes.
I think Williams will fit right in. He just needs to work out his mechanical problems when he's in the 9th inning, and if he can pitch like he does in the 8th, in the 9th inning, I don't think there will be much of a problem.
But we also our bats need to come alive now more than ever. That's the other concern.
Yes, I think the Yankees need to also hit with runners in scoring position and not just have a ground ball double play. They need to put the ball in the air, need to find the holes, and
Find the gaps, actually.
Holds, gaps, same thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure, Ken, don't you? What's the difference between finding the hole and finding a gap in baseball?
Well, I get your point. My differentiation in this is holes on the infield. You got to find the gaps in the outfield. You basically, they're both holes.
I'm not arguing the difference of how to spell a tomato.
Yeah.
Looking at the numbers for Ramirez versus Rodon,
Mhm.
He's got 46 plate appearances. He's hitting 244 against Rodon. And Kwan's sample size is much smaller. He's only got 5 at bats, and he's hitting 200. So
Well, as I said, I think the goal for the Yankees in the series is to keep those two guys off the bases. If they can do that, they will have a very successful series.
the guy that is hitting Rodon well in their lineup is Santana. He's got 42 at
Carlos
bats.
Santana. Yeah.
He's got a couple of home runs off of him and is hitting 357.
Well, he might be someone for this game, but
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about is tonight's game.
Well, the Yankees have the two right pitchers going in this series to basically get them in the right direction between Rodon and Fried. Schmidt, I could see that game being a no decision for him and perhaps being a potential walk-off for the Yankees. I could see that.
well, Schmidt also. I think Schmidt. I think June might be the month where we see Schmidt start to turn it around a bit. I'm not talking about going from a 4.3 ERA down to having a 2.1 ERA, but I have a feeling that he could get that ERA closer to 4 by the end of the month.
And that would be a plus.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're at an hour. I'm going to go ahead and shut the stream down. I want to thank everybody for coming up. Landon, Sunil, Jonathan, and Joe. Thanks for the support. I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their busy Tuesday afternoon to spend time here on the stream.
Yeah.
So if you haven't, please hit the like. If you are not, please subscribe and share this channel out.
Mhm.
We're at 106 subscribers. Would like to hit 125 before the century is up. And
The century.
remember, we have the pregame on NY Yankee Mania at 4 p.m. this afternoon with Joe, and I'll try to be there. And the play-by-play at 7 right here on Yankees The Ugly Truth to call the play-by-play. Thank you. I'll end with my customary "Let's go Yankees," and
Let's go.
we will see you in the funny papers.